Have you ever watched someone steal your entire life while everyone applauded? That morning was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Instead, it became the day my own parents erased me. My name is Emily, I'm 30 years old, and everything I'm about to tell you is true. If I hadn't lived through it myself, I would never have believed it. The church was decorated with white roses. Hundreds of guests were already inside. My wedding was supposed to begin in less than 30 minutes. I looked at myself in the mirror, took a deep breath, and smiled. I had waited 3 years for this day. 3 years for the man I loved. 3 years for the family I thought loved me too. I had absolutely no idea that my own mother had already made a different plan. My phone suddenly buzzed. It was my younger sister. Only 3 words. "Don't come yet," I frowned. That was strange. She was supposed to help me with my dress. Why would she tell me not to come? Something felt wrong, very wrong. I called my mother. She rejected my call. I called my father. No answer. My fiance didn't answer either. For the first time that morning, my hands started shaking. 10 minutes later, I arrived at the church anyway. As soon as I opened the door, I heard applause. People were smiling. Music was playing, but then my heart stopped because standing at the altar wearing my wedding dress was my own sister, and my fiance was standing beside her smiling while my parents sat proudly in the front row as if nothing was wrong. For a few seconds, I couldn't even breathe. I honestly thought I had walked into the wrong wedding. Then my mother looked directly at me and smiled, not with love, not with guilt, with victory cliffhanger. My mother slowly stood up, looked everyone in the eyes, and said, "You're too late." The bedroom door wasn't completely closed. There was only a small gap, but it was enough to destroy everything I believed. Ryan was sitting on the edge of our bed. Sophia was standing right in front of him. She wasn't crying. She wasn't scared. She was smiling. Ryan gently tucked a strand of her hair behind her ear, the same way he used to do with me. For a second, I couldn't move. My whole body went numb. Then, Ryan noticed me. His smile disappeared. "Emily, it's not what you think." Sophia quickly stepped back. She looked nervous, but only for a second. Then she looked me straight in the eyes without saying a single word. I stared at both of them, waiting for someone to tell me this was all a misunderstanding. No one did. Ryan finally sighed. "I was going to tell you." Those words hurt more than anything else. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "I made a mistake." Instead, "I was going to tell you," as if our marriage was already over. I looked at Sophia, the woman I called my sister. "How long?" She lowered her head. Ryan answered instead, "Almost a year. A year for 12 months. They had smiled in my face, celebrated birthdays with me, shared dinners with me while hiding the truth. I felt tears filling my eyes, but I refused to let them fall, not in front of them. Ryan slowly walked toward me. "Emily, we didn't mean for this to happen." I took one step back, then another, and quietly asked, "So, when were you planning to leave?" Ryan stayed silent. Sophia finally spoke. "We love each other." Those 5 words ended my marriage. I nodded slowly. I smiled, and for the first time, I realized some smiles hide the deepest pain without yelling, without throwing anything, without begging. I simply turned around, walked downstairs, picked up my car keys, and left. Neither of them followed me, neither of them called. That night, I sat alone in my car, watching the rain hit the windshield, and I whispered to myself, "One day, you'll both understand what you destroyed." They thought that was the end of my story. They had no idea. It was only the beginning. The wedding venue was more beautiful than I had imagined. White roses, crystal chandeliers, soft piano music filled the room. Every guest was smiling, as if this was the beginning of a perfect love story. I parked my car, took a deep breath, and walked inside. The moment I entered, people started looking at me. Some recognized me immediately. Others whispered quietly, "Isn't that Ryan's ex-wife? What is she doing here?" I thought she wouldn't come. I ignored every stare. I smiled politely and walked to the last row, far away from everyone else. A few minutes later, Ryan walked into the hall. He looked confident, happy. He never even looked in my direction. Then The music changed. Everyone stood up. Sophia appeared, wearing a beautiful white wedding dress. She looked stunning. For a brief moment, our eyes met. Her smile disappeared. She hadn't expected me to come, but I simply smiled. Nothing more, nothing less. The ceremony began. The officiant welcomed everyone. He started talking about love, trust, and forever. Every word felt painfully ironic. Then the officiant asked if anyone has any lawful reason why these two should not be married. The room became completely silent. I stayed seated. I didn't move. I didn't speak. Ryan glanced toward me, almost expecting me to stand. I didn't. A few guests turned around, waiting for drama. None came. The officiant smiled. Very well. He continued the ceremony. Ryan reached for Sophia's hands. She smiled, but something looked different. Her hands were shaking. Ryan whispered, "Are you okay?" She nodded, but her face had turned pale. The vows began. Ryan finished his first. Everyone applauded. Then it was Sophia's turn. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. She looked at Ryan. Then, slowly, she turned toward me. The entire hall watched her. She took one deep breath, walked away from the altar, and stopped right in front of me. Nobody understood what was happening. Then she leaned close to my ear and whispered just a few words. My eyes widened. Before I could answer, she turned around, looked directly at Ryan, and with tears running down her face, she quietly said, "I can't do this." The entire hall went completely silent. Ryan stood frozen. The guests couldn't believe what they had just seen, and before anyone could stop her, the bride walked away. David's voice echoed through the church. "Before this wedding continues, everyone deserves to know the truth." The music stopped. The priest slowly closed his Bible. Every guest turned toward David. For the first time that morning, my father looked scared. My mother forced a smile. "David, don't ruin this beautiful day." But David didn't even look at her. He walked straight toward me. Then he gently took the document from my hands. He raised it high enough for everyone to see and asked loudly, "Does anyone here know what Emily was just asked to sign?" Nobody answered, not a single person. David unfolded the papers. His hands were shaking. He read one sentence aloud. "The bride voluntarily gives up all legal rights." The church exploded with whispers. "What? Why would she sign that? This doesn't make any sense." I looked at my parents. Neither of them said a word. Then my younger sister suddenly grabbed the papers. Give me that." She tried to tear them apart. But David held them tightly. He looked at her and quietly said, "If these papers are harmless, why are you trying to destroy them?" My sister froze. The guests noticed everything. My father finally stood up. His voice was louder than ever. "That's enough. This wedding is over." David slowly turned toward him. "No, it's just beginning." The church became completely silent. Then David looked directly at me. His eyes were filled with guilt. He whispered, "Emily, I didn't know they changed the documents." I couldn't believe what I had just heard. Changed? What did he mean, changed? Before I could ask another question, an elderly woman suddenly stood up from the last row. She slowly walked toward the altar. Everyone moved aside. She looked at my father and said one sentence that made his face turn completely white. "Should I tell them what you did last night?" The entire church froze. Even my mother stopped breathing. Cliffhanger. The old woman slowly reached into her handbag, pulled out a small sealed envelope, and said, "I brought the proof." For several seconds, no one moved. No one spoke. The only sound was Sophia crying. Ryan stood at the altar, completely confused. "Sophia, what are you doing?" She didn't answer. She kept walking until she reached the exit. Ryan ran after her. The guests immediately stood up. The entire wedding had turned into chaos. Some people followed them outside. Others stayed inside, trying to understand what had just happened. I remained in my seat, calm, silent, just watching. A few moments later, the wedding planner walked over to me. She looked embarrassed. "I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening." I smiled gently. It's all right." Then I slowly stood up. I was about to leave when I heard someone calling my name. "Emily." I turned around. It was Sophia. Her makeup on was ruined by tears. She looked nothing like the confident woman who had stolen my husband. She stopped in front of me. for a long moment and she couldn't even speak. Finally, she whispered, "I can't marry him." I looked at her quietly. She wiped away her tears. Then she said, "The truth has been killing me for 6 years." I didn't interrupt. She took another deep breath. "Ryan never knew what really happened." My heart skipped a beat. She looked down at the floor. I lied to him. I told him that you were cheating on him." I closed my eyes. For 6 years, Ryan had believed that I betrayed him. Sophia continued crying. "I deleted your messages. I blocked your calls. I made him believe you had already moved on. Everything made sense. Ryan never left because he stopped loving me. He left because he believed a lie." At that exact moment, Ryan walked back inside. He had heard every single word. He looked at Sophia, then at me. His face turned completely pale. His lips trembled. He could barely speak. "Emily, is this true?" I looked into his eyes. For the first time in 6 years, I finally answered, "Yes." You never even gave me a chance to explain. Ryan slowly stepped backward. His entire world collapsed in a matter of seconds. He realized the woman he had trusted had destroyed all 3 of our lives. And what happened next, no one in that wedding hall would ever forget. Ryan stood there, unable to move, unable to breathe. He looked at Sophia, then back at me. His voice shook. Emily, why didn't you fight for us?" I smiled sadly. "I did. You just never listened." The room fell silent once again. Ryan slowly turned toward Sophia. His eyes were filled with disbelief. "You lied to me. For 6 years?" Sophia broke down. "I loved you. I was afraid if you ever found out the truth, you'd go back to Emily." Ryan closed his eyes. For a long moment, no one spoke. Finally, he removed his wedding ring. Before it had even become official, he placed it on the table beside the altar. Then he quietly said, "It's over." Sophia collapsed into a chair, sobbing uncontrollably. The guests watched, completely speechless. Some quietly walked away. Others couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. The wedding planner began collecting the untouched flowers. Within minutes, the beautiful wedding hall was almost empty. Ryan slowly walked toward me. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but if I could go back, I would." I looked at him. For 6 years, I had imagined this moment. I thought I'd be angry, I'd yell, I'd make him suffer, but standing there, I felt nothing, because the pain had already left me. I quietly replied, "I forgave you a long time ago, but forgiveness doesn't rebuild what's been destroyed." A single tear rolled down Ryan's face. He nodded. For the first time, he understood that some mistakes can never be undone. Without another word, I turned around, walked toward the exit. The sunlight was brighter than it had been in years. As I stepped outside, I took one deep breath and smiled, not because they lost, but because I had finally found peace. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't shouting, it isn't fighting, it isn't proving someone wrong. Sometimes the greatest revenge is simply living a happy life, without the people who once tried to destroy it. Thank you for listening to my story. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it, because sometimes the truth arrives late, but when it does, it changes everything.